Life has this funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them, doesn't it? Sometimes circumstances pull you into situations that blur the lines between what's comfortable and what's complicated. Not because anyone wants trouble, but simply because life doesn't always follow neat rules. I've carried this particular story inside me for a long time, rarely sharing it because it's layered, personal, and honestly a bit uncomfortable to revisit. Have you ever found yourself standing right on the edge of something that feels off-limits? Not driven by any wild impulse, but pushed there by a chain of ordinary events? That was exactly how I felt on that one ordinary day, like the universe had decided to play a quiet, ironic joke, and somehow I ended up as the main character. It all started on a perfectly average Saturday afternoon. The weekend was unfolding, slowly and peacefully. I had no big plans, just the usual mix of small tasks around the house. The dryer was tumbling softly in the background with its steady, comforting rhythm while I went through my closet, sorting clothes into keep, donate, and maybe one-day piles. That's when my hand brushed against something buried in the back, an old miniskirt from years ago. I hadn't worn anything like that in ages. That chapter of my life felt long closed, replaced by more practical, comfortable choices. Still, curiosity got the better of me. I pulled it out, held it up, and a wave of memories rushed in unexpectedly. Those memories took me back to a younger version of myself, full of energy, fearless in small ways, living for simple joys like laughing with friends, feeling the breeze on summer evenings, and embracing whatever felt fun and freeing at the time. On pure impulse, I decided to slip it on, just to see. I didn't expect much, maybe a laugh at how ridiculous it would look now. But when I stepped in front of the full-length mirror, a surprised little chuckle escaped me. The fabric hugged closer than it used to, highlighting changes in my shape. Over the years, some I liked, some I was still getting used to. It wasn't about trying to look a certain way. I was simply experimenting, rediscovering a piece of my past self for a private moment of nostalgia. That's when a knock came at the front door, sharp, unexpected. Who could that be? I muttered under my breath. My hair was a mess from rummaging through boxes. I was barefoot and clearly not dressed for company. No one had said they were stopping by. I opened the door cautiously, and there stood my nephew, Jason. He wasn't the little boy who used to chase butterflies in the backyard anymore. At 22, he had grown into a strong, confident young man, tall, broad-shouldered, carrying himself with an easy assurance that drew people's attention without him even trying. He held a small toolbox in one hand and flashed that familiar, laid-back smile he'd had since he was a teenager. "Auntie, you mentioned the leaky faucet in the guest bathroom a while back," he said casually. "I figured I'd swing by and fix it since I had some free time." Honestly, I'd completely forgotten I'd ever brought it up. A flush of mild embarrassment hit me because of how I looked, but I brushed it aside with a quick laugh. "Oh, right. Come on in. The bathroom's just down the hall, thanks for remembering." He stepped inside, passing close enough that I caught the faint scent of fresh air and motor oil from whatever he'd been working on earlier. As he walked by, I noticed a tiny pause. His eyes flicked toward me for half a second before darting away. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe it was nothing. I told myself not to overthink. After all, he's family. Jason got to work under the sink while I returned to my closet sorting, trying to focus on folding shirts and pairing socks. But the house felt strangely quieter than usual, charged with something I couldn't quite name. Not tension exactly, but an awareness. You know that feeling when you sense someone looking at you even though they're pretending not to? I brushed it off at first. Classic overthinking, right? He's my nephew. Of course his attention would wander, while he worked in a small space. A little later, as I walked past the bathroom doorway on my way to grab a glass of water from the kitchen, his voice called out suddenly. "Hey, Auntie, could you come here for a sec? I think I need an extra hand." Curious and a bit puzzled, I stepped in. He was crouched low, sleeves rolled up to show strong, sun-tanned forearms, a wrench gripped firmly in one hand. He pointed toward a stubborn pipe fitting This thing's really stuck. Mind holding the faucet steady while I twist from underneath? I nodded and leaned in to grip it. The bathroom was tiny, barely room for both of us without brushing shoulders. I tried to ignore how close we were, focusing instead on the cool metal under my fingers and the faint metallic clink of tools. But I could feel the warmth radiating from his arm next to mine as he worked with steady concentration. Every now and then, I'd glance sideways, and I'd catch him looking, not at the pipe, but at me. It wasn't obvious or staring, just quick, repeated glances, like he was trying to figure something out without saying it aloud. I broke the quiet. "Everything okay down there?" He paused, met my eyes for a longer beat than necessary, then gave that easygoing smile of his, the one that usually diffused any awkwardness. "Yeah, all good. You're the expert at holding things still, right?" He chuckled lightly, and I laughed too, trying to shake off the odd vibe. A few minutes later, the pipe gave way with a satisfying groan. He stood up, wiped his hands on his jeans and grinned. "Fixed. Should run like new now." "Thank you so much," I said, stepping back to give him space. "You're a real lifesaver." He leaned casually against the counter, crossing his arms, studying me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "You know, Auntie, I don't think I've ever seen you dressed quite like that before." My cheeks warmed instantly. I tugged self-consciously at the hem of the skirt. "Oh, this? Ha ha ha. It's just an old thing I found buried in the closet while cleaning out donate piles. I was only trying it on for fun. Nostalgia attack, you know?" He didn't laugh right away. He just looked at me, eyes thoughtful, almost searching. Then softly, almost gently, he said, "Well, it looks nice on you. Really nice." The compliment landed heavier than it should have. I stammered a quick, "Thanks, I guess," feeling suddenly exposed and awkward. Needing to escape the moment, I turned toward the door. "Anyway, let me get back to sorting." But as I stepped into the hallway, he followed a few paces behind. "Auntie, wait a second." I turned. My heart gave an unexpected thud. "Yeah?" He hesitated, rubbing the back of his neck like he was choosing his words very carefully. "Have you ever felt like some things happen for a reason? Like the timing isn't random?" I blinked, genuinely confused. "What do you mean?" He opened his mouth, closed it again, then shook his head with a small, self-conscious laugh. "Never. Mind, forget I said anything, just random thought." But I couldn't forget the way he'd looked at me, the quiet tone in his voice. It lingered like an echo even after he gathered his tools, thanked me again, and left for the day. That evening I tried to unwind on the couch, flipping channels without really watching anything, telling myself over and over that I was reading too much into innocent moments. He's family. It's nothing. Just hormones or gratitude or whatever young guys go through. But then my phone lit up with a message from him. "Hey, Auntie, can I ask you something real quick?" My stomach did a tiny flip. Why now? After a long pause, I typed back, "Sure, what's up?" His reply came fast. "I've been thinking about today. You looked different. In a good way. It caught me off guard, honestly." I stared at the screen, unsure how to respond. Eventually, I went neutral. I was just messing around with old clothes from years ago. Nothing special. He typed back almost right away. "No, seriously, you looked really good." I mean it. My pulse picked up. Was this just a compliment or something more? I didn't know how to navigate it. After what felt like forever, I replied, "Thanks, Jason. That's sweet of you to say." But he wasn't done. "I don't know if I should even say this, but being around you today felt different. Did you feel anything like that?" My breath caught. This was dangerous territory. He wasn't just some random person. He was my nephew. Whatever he thought he was feeling, it couldn't be right. Yet instead of shutting it down hard, I hesitated. Curiosity? Fear of hurting him? I don't know. I didn't answer immediately, and the typing bubble appeared again. Then, Sorry, forget I asked. Didn't mean to make things weird. Relief washed over me, mixed with unease. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, that he'd drop it, and things would go back to normal. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning of something complicated.